The Chancellor's office on Coruscant was plunged into silence when Palpatine approached Anakin. The young knight's eyes betrayed the anguish of the nightmares that haunted him night after night. Palpatine spoke in a low, almost confidential tone. "I know your anguish, Anakin. I know the fear you carry of losing Padme. There is a way to save her. The dark side of the Force is a path to many abilities that some consider unnatural." The words penetrated deep into Anakin's mind, and he took a step back, disturbed. The phrase fell like a weight on Anakin. The truth was before him. The man he had trusted as leader of the Republic was the very enemy the Jedi pursued. With a sudden movement, the blue lightsaber ignited in his hand, illuminating the office. "You are the Sith Lord," he shouted, pointing the blade toward the Chancellor's chest. Palpatine raised his eyebrows, but showed no fear. Anakin took a step forward, the blade vibrating. Palpatine remained calm, almost paternal. "The Jedi never trusted you, Anakin. They always treated you like a tool. I, on the other hand, have always been on your side. I offer you the power to save the woman you love. Think about it before you act." The internal conflict tore at the young man, torn between loyalty to the Order and the desperate desire to save Padme. "I should finish you right now," said Anakin, the saber inches from Palpatine's face. The Chancellor leaned forward slightly, as if accepting the provocation. "But you won't," he replied, his voice laden with certainty. "You need me, Anakin. Only with me will you have the power to defeat death. Only with me can Padme live." Anakin's gaze wavered, but the blade remained steady, betraying that the decision had not yet been made. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. The office door opened, revealing Mace Windu. The Jedi Master entered with a firm stance, his gaze suspicious. He stopped when he saw Anakin with his lightsaber drawn and Palpatine before him. "What is going on here?" he asked in a grave tone, approaching slowly. Anakin turned, without lowering his blade. "He knows the ways of the Force and the dark side. He is the Sith Lord." The accusation echoed through the room, causing Palpatine to raise his hands in a gesture of apparent innocence. "Master Windu, do not be fooled," Palpatine said calmly. "Anakin is troubled. His visions torment him. He cannot distinguish reality from illusion. I am the Supreme Chancellor, Guardian of the Republic. To accuse me without proof is to threaten the entire galactic order." Windu narrowed his eyes, studying every detail. Tension filled the room, and the silence was broken only by the hum of the blue blade that Anakin still held firmly. Confidence in the chosen one mingled with the Master's instinct for caution. "He's lying, Master," Anakin said firmly. "He confessed himself. He said he knows secrets of the dark side capable of cheating death. He is the enemy we have been seeking since the beginning of the war." Windu's face hardened even more. "If this is true, he cannot remain free. In the name of the Republic, you are under arrest." The purple saber lit up in his hand, filling the room with an intense glow. Palpatine took a step back but kept his composure. "You do not understand what you are doing," Palpatine replied. "Arresting the Chancellor is a betrayal of the Senate's trust. The people will turn against the Jedi. Chaos will consume the Republic." Windu stood firm, his blade pointed at the chest of the man who ruled. "If it takes confronting the Senate to stop a Sith, so be it. You are not above the law." Windu's voice cut through the silence like a sentence, and the room filled with invisible electricity. Anakin breathed heavily, his eyes shifting between the two men. Palpatine's words still echoed. The power to save Padme, the chance to prevent loss. But Windu's firm presence reminded him of Jedi duty and the danger the dark side represented. "He is trying to divide us, Master," Anakin said, but his voice was not as convincing as he wished. The dilemma grew in his heart, and the room seemed smaller and smaller, suffocating, as if the fate of the galaxy were being decided there. Palpatine raised his hands in a dramatic gesture, his voice laden with warning. "Think carefully about what you are about to do. If you remove me, the war will drag on. The Senate will turn against you, and Anakin, your beloved, will not survive. Only I can offer you what you seek." The ensuing silence was like a storm about to explode. Anakin remained motionless, Windu with his saber raised, and Palpatine waiting for the first opening to react. The discussion was just beginning, and none of the three seemed willing to back down. Palpatine, after a moment of silence, slowly raised his hands and smiled almost cynically. "All right, Jedi Masters, you may take me away. I insist on clarifying this whole matter before the Senate." The coldness in his voice intrigued Anakin, but Windu did not back down. Without turning off their sabers, for safety, they both escorted him out of the office. The Chancellor seemed calm, as if he had calculated every detail of this arrest. For Anakin, something didn't fit. For Windu, however, the important thing was to keep him in immediate custody. Windu ordered the guards and other Jedi Masters to take Palpatine into custody. His authority commanded respect, but he knew the battle was not yet won. "Anakin, you will have no contact with him," he ordered firmly. "He has already influenced you too much. His words are poison. You must not listen to them again." Anakin frowned, feeling excluded. "But Master, I was there. I heard the confession." Windu cut him off quickly. "And that is precisely why you cannot see him. You already carry too many doubts. You need to clear your mind. You have earned my trust and that of the Council. But for now, stay away from him." Palpatine, meanwhile, walked through the prison with an unsettling serenity. Even in handcuffs, his mind moved like invisible gears. He had already prepared for this day. His contacts were infiltrated at all levels of the Senate, the Army, and even communication systems. Nothing about it took him by surprise. On the contrary, it was part of a larger plan. To the eyes of any citizen, he was a chancellor being brought to justice. But in the shadows, he was the Sith, just waiting for the moment to turn the tables. In the hiding place of his cell, a discreet hologram activated, projecting the dark image of General Grievous. "The orders have been given," Palpatine said quietly, without the guards noticing. "Prepare to attack when I give the command. The Senate must feel fear. Only then will their confidence in the Jedi be shaken." Grievous bowed with mechanical reverence. "It will be done, my lord." Palpatine calmly turned off the device, sitting as if he were just another prisoner awaiting trial. The smile returned to his lips. Meanwhile, Anakin wandered through the Jedi Temple, troubled. The weight of Palpatine's words still echoed in his mind. He sought out Windu, almost begging for guidance. "Master, what if he's telling the truth? What if there really is a way to prevent death?" Windu showed no mercy. "You are too attached. Fear is what guides you. The way of a Jedi is to serve the Force, not your own desires." The answer, though firm, brought Anakin no comfort. On the contrary, it increased the whirlwind of uncertainty within him. Windu continued, "Trust the Order. Trust us. Palpatine has deceived you for a long time, but now he will face justice. Turn away from your fears, or they will destroy you." The words were clear as iron, but Anakin's mind still clung to the echo of promises that only Palpatine had dared to make him. It was like being caught between two worlds. While the Jedi Council met with Senate leaders to discuss the Chancellor's fate, the city was abuzz with rumors. Some Organa senators feared that the arrest was a coup by the Council to seize power. Others demanded concrete evidence, while Palpatine's supporters clamored for his immediate release. The hearing was becoming a minefield, and the mere presence of the Jedi was viewed with suspicion by many. Palpatine knew this, and every second increased the political tension he had sown. Inside his cell, Palpatine discreetly received an update from his undercover contacts. The spy network spread across Coruscant confirmed that the Senate was vulnerable. "Everything is ready, my lord," reported a corrupted officer through a secret communicator. "Grievous is already in position with a squad. As soon as you give the order, we will attack." Palpatine leaned forward, his eyes shining. "Excellent. Wait for my signal. The Senate needs to taste fear. When they cry out for security, they will ask for my return." In the main hall, Windu presented the facts that led to the arrest. Palpatine confessed to Anakin Skywalker that he had knowledge of the dark side of the Force. His manipulations during the war demonstrate his true nature. He is the Sith we seek. Murmurs echoed among the senators, some incredulous, others indignant. Bail Organa stood up, demanding further explanation. If this is true, the Republic has been in the hands of its enemy for years. But we need documentary evidence, not just words. The tension grew with each passing minute. Anakin watched the hearing from a distance, authorized only as a witness, but not as an active participant. He crossed his arms, torn between his trust in Windu and his memories of Palpatine. Maybe it's all manipulation, he muttered to himself, but the doubt remained like a shadow. Padme was present among the senators, attentive to every word exchanged in the center of the hall. The sound of the discussions echoed like thunder, but her eyes could not tear themselves away from Anakin, standing at a distance with a tense expression. He returned her gaze, and in that instant the noise of the hearing seemed to fade away. There was a silent dialogue there, laden with fear and hope, as if both were seeking strength in each other amid the turmoil that threatened to engulf the Republic. Outside, Palpatine's plans were moving quickly. Grievous droids were already infiltrating strategic corridors near the Senate, ready to execute the order that would shake the galaxy. Windu's speech was interrupted by a muffled sound coming from the walls of the building. Senators looked at each other nervously. Bail Organa stood up, looking around. "What was that?" he asked aloud. Windu closed his eyes for a moment, sensing a disturbance in the Force. Something is not right. Before he could continue, a colossal explosion rocked the hall, throwing tables and chairs into the air. The ceiling shook, and entire columns collapsed. The Senate audience, which was supposed to decide Palpatine's future, was plunged into chaos amid fire and cries of despair. Smoke from the explosion still filled the chamber when the metallic sound of footsteps echoed through the destroyed columns. The floor shook under the weight of dozens of battle droids advancing in formation, led by the imposing figure of General Grievous. His 4 arms wielded lightsabers collected in past battles, reflecting the chaos around him. "Senators, you are now hostages of the Confederacy," he announced in a hoarse, metallic voice. Panic seized the audience, and the representatives of the Republic were cornered like defenseless prey. Among the senators, Padme was grabbed by Grievous himself, who pulled her brutally in full view of everyone. "A senator from Naboo! A valuable prize," he sneered, wrapping his claws around her. Anakin immediately advanced, lightsaber ignited, fury overflowing. "Let her go now, Grievous!" he roared, his eyes fixed on the woman he loved. Mace Windu appeared at his side, his purple blade glowing. "Release the senator and the hostages, or this will be the end of you." The hall became a field of tension, with Jedi and droids ready for confrontation. Grievous let out a twisted laugh, holding Padme as a shield. "You don't have the courage to risk her life." Anakin stepped forward, ignoring the approaching droids. "I said let her go," he shouted, his voice thick with rage and desperation. Padme struggled to break free, but the general's mechanical strength was overwhelming. Windu, with the calmness of a master, raised his hand to restrain Anakin. "Control yourself. He's provoking you." The young man, however, was on the verge of losing his mind at the scene. Suddenly, the sound of a gunshot echoed through the hall. A red beam shot through the air and struck Grievous in the chest, piercing his organic lung. The general roared in agony, staggering backward. His cybernetic arms failed for an instant, and Padme fell to her knees, free from his grip. In shock, Anakin and Windu turned toward the source of the shot. Through the smoke from the explosion, a figure slowly emerged. It was Palpatine, who had freed himself during the chaos, still with broken chains on his wrists. The chancellor walked calmly toward the center of the hall, holstering the blaster he had fired. His gaze rested on Padme, and his voice was laden with false concern. "My fellow Naboo, are you all right?" The tone seemed genuine, but it carried the shadow of perfect acting. Windu narrowed his eyes immediately, realizing how convenient that heroic gesture had been. His intuition told him that it was all a ploy to further manipulate the situation. Anakin, however, did not hear his master's silent warning. He ran to Padme, turning off his lightsaber and kneeling beside her. "Padme, are you hurt? Tell me you're okay." His eyes scanned her desperately, completely ignoring Palpatine's presence and Windu's suspicion. The young Jedi's heart was beating fast, focused only on the woman he had almost lost before his eyes. The fate of the Republic once again hung on the fragile thread between trust and deception. The Senate chamber was quickly secured after Grievous' fall. The Jedi advanced in unison, cutting down the remaining droids with precise lightsaber strikes. The smell of smoke mingled with that of burnt iron, but the threat had been eliminated. When silence returned, everyone's eyes turned to Palpatine, who stood before them as their unexpected savior. The chancellor raised his arms before the crowd of frightened senators. "You saw it with your own eyes. While I was unjustly accused, I risked my life to save this assembly and Senator Amidala." The echo of his words resounded like thunder. Many senators, shaken by the attack, began to applaud hesitantly, until the applause multiplied throughout the chamber. Palpatine continued, "All this was the result of the Jedi's lie, who arrested me without evidence, accusing me of crimes I never committed, and yet, even in chains, I defended this house, the true soul of the Republic." Anakin watched in silence, his eyes lost between the image of Padme and the imposing figure of Palpatine. Confusion gnawed at his heart, unable to clearly distinguish who was telling the truth. Bail Organa stood up immediately, indignant. "This is an insult to the intelligence of this Senate." The Chancellor was detained because there was clear evidence of a connection to the dark side. That explosion, that attack, it could all have been orchestrated. His words echoed loudly, but met with resistance from the majority, already enchanted by Palpatine's heroic speech. Padme, still shaken, remained silent, but her worried gaze alternated between Anakin and Bail. It was as if she couldn't believe what she was witnessing. Mace Windu stepped forward, his voice sharp as a blade. "Bail speaks the truth. This charade was planned. Palpatine used you as a stage to consecrate himself as a hero, when in fact he is the enemy who manipulates everything." Murmurs filled the hall. Some senators hesitated, but Palpatine raised his arm, pointing at Windu. "Look, the Jedi Master cannot bear that I have done what they could not. Save the Senate. They fear my power because they know the people love me." His rhetoric further inflamed the crowd. Padme raised her voice timidly. "Chancellor, please, enough. We are all in shock. The Senate needs calm." But Palpatine took advantage of even that intervention. "My dear Senator, it is precisely for you and everyone else that I fought. If it weren't for my actions, many would be dead now." The crowd reacted, some applauding, others murmuring doubts. Anakin felt the pressure mounting inside him, torn between Windu's warnings and the sight of Padme safe thanks to Palpatine's actions. It was then that Palpatine stepped forward and commanded in a firm voice, "Guards, protect Senator Amidala. She is a jewel of Naboo and deserves immediate security." The Red Guards moved promptly to surround Padme. Windu raised his saber in response, blocking his path. "You have no authority to do this, Palpatine. You are no longer Chancellor, you are deposed. No order of yours will be obeyed." Shock rippled through the chamber, and silence fell abruptly over the assembly. Palpatine smiled grimly, realizing that the moment had come. "Is that so? Even to protect the innocent, you want to stop me? Senators, look at what stands before you. The Jedi do not seek justice, they seek power. Today they tried to arrest me, tomorrow they will eliminate all of you." The murmurs turned into shouts. Part of the Senate applauded, others demanded calm, but chaos had already taken over. Anakin watched, paralyzed, while Padme cowered in the midst of the confusion. Windu couldn't take it anymore. "No more lies. Your time is up." He advanced decisively, his purple lightsaber illuminating the podium. Palpatine backed away slightly, his eyes flashing with hatred. "Then I have no choice?" In a sudden movement, a red beam lit up the hall. Palpatine finally revealed his lightsaber, the crimson blade hissing through the air. The senators recoiled in panic, and the hum of the two sabers met in the center of the chamber. The first impact echoed like thunder, purple against red, sparks scattering across the shattered marble floor. Windu pressed hard, his strikes precise, trying to end the fight quickly. Palpatine, however, displayed the fury of a cornered predator, each thrust laden with rage and dark power. The Senate, once a stage for speeches, now became an arena for mortal combat. "Traitor!" roared Windu, blocking a vicious blow. "Liar, murderer!" Palpatine retorted with a cutting laugh, swinging his red blade in a devastating arc. "And you, Jedi, are blind. You cannot stop destiny. This galaxy needs me." The words were spat out with hatred, each syllable accompanied by quick, brutal blows. The senators watched in horror, unable to believe what they were seeing. Anakin stood beside Padme, paralyzed by the dilemma. His heart raced between duty and emotion, between Windu's truth and Palpatine's promises. Bail Organa shouted for the guards to intervene, but no one dared approach the blades that cut through the air at deadly speed. The fate of the Republic was once again at stake, and the duel between the Jedi Master and the hidden Sith was now inevitable. The hall shook under the metallic sound of the energy swords. Sparks flew, columns collapsed, and the senators' cries echoed in despair. Windu and Palpatine stared at each other with absolute hatred, each blow fiercer than the last. The clash had begun, and nothing could stop it. The duel intensified with each blow, sparks cutting through the air and the sound of sabers echoing through the Senate chamber. Palpatine whirled his red blade, his eyes burning with rage, while Windu maintained his relentless defense, steady as a rock. The senators watched in terror, some retreating, others screaming, unable to comprehend how the Republic had reached this point. Anakin remained at Padme's side, paralyzed by the conflict in his heart, unable to choose a side. Suddenly, Palpatine raised his free hand and used the Force to pull a heavy metal object toward him, hurling it at Windu. The Jedi Master was unable to react in time. The impact knocked him to the ground, his lightsaber rolling away. Taking advantage of the opening, Palpatine raised both hands and unleashed a torrent of blue lightning bolts at Windu's body. The Master writhed on the floor, screaming in pain as the lightning consumed his resistance. The glow illuminated the broken walls of the chamber, revealing the true face of the Sith. The Jedi guarding the room advanced, but they were too far away to intervene immediately. Anakin, closest of all, trembled as he watched Windu being consumed by the lightning. His feet wouldn't move, as if he were caught between two invisible forces. Padme, desperate, grabbed his arm and shouted over the noise of the lightning. "Anakin, do something, please!" The young man's heart raced, his eyes fixed on Windu, then on Palpatine, and the confusion in his mind reached its limit. Palpatine laughed, his voice laden with triumph. "Look, this is the fate of the Jedi." Windu screamed in pain, but still tried to resist, his hands raised to contain some of the energy. Anakin, gasping for breath, felt the dilemma crush his soul. If he acted, he could save Windu, but he would betray the one he had promised to save Padme. If he stood still, he would allow a master of the Order to be murdered before his eyes. The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath, awaiting his decision. Then a new sound cut through the hall. The crack of a blue lightsaber being activated echoed amid the screams and buzzing of the lightning bolts. The blade glowed brightly, reflecting off the Chancellor's face. In a single swift and precise movement, the blow cut through the air and struck Palpatine's neck. Time seemed to stand still as the Sith's head rolled across the Senate floor, the lightning ceasing immediately. His body fell lifeless, finally defeated before everyone. Silence fell over the hall, broken only by Anakin's heavy breathing. He held his lightsaber still lit, his eyes fixed on Palpatine's body. Padme ran to him, holding his arm tightly, tears in her eyes. The Jedi approached, surprised and relieved, while the senators watched in astonishment. The hidden enemy, The one who had manipulated the entire Republic had been defeated once and for all. The weight of years of war and conspiracy had been ended with a single blow. Windu, still recovering from his injuries, looked up at Anakin. There was pain in his body but also recognition. "You have brought balance." His voice was weak, but it carried the truth that everyone witnessed. Anakin replied, "Thanks to you, Master." Bail Organa looked around, raising his voice. "Let everyone here be witnesses." It was Anakin Skywalker who revealed the Sith Lord, and it was he who defeated him. The Republic owes its survival to the Chosen One. The murmurs of the senators soon turned into thunderous applause. Padme hugged Anakin tightly, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. He, however, remained motionless, saber still in hand, gaze distant. Inside him, the doubt remained. Had he made the choice out of duty or love? But for everyone there, what mattered was the fact that the young Jedi Knight had ended the greatest threat ever faced. The galaxy would never forget that moment. The Jedi collected the Chancellor's body, while the senators reorganized themselves amid the chaos. The image that remained was clear. Palpatine, the hero in disguise, revealed as a Sith and defeated before everyone. Anakin, the Chosen One, remained standing in the center of the hall, the blue blade still illuminating the darkness that remained after the battle. Destiny had been fulfilled in an unexpected way. In the end, the Senate declared Anakin Skywalker a hero of the Republic. His name echoed as a symbol of hope, the knight who had discovered and destroyed the Sith Lord who threatened everyone. Padme, still shaken, remained by his side, the memory of the moment etched in her soul. And so, before the entire galaxy, Anakin not only saved his beloved, but also brought balance to the Force, ending the war before the Empire of Darkness could be born.